everybody. I'm Jeff Weisenberger, editor and publisher of Modern Steel Construction Magazine, the monthly magazine of AISC. And with me today is Machel Morrison, who is one of this year's AISC Award winners. Machel is being honored with the Terry Pisha Early Career Faculty Award, which recognizes those who build a brighter future by supporting tomorrow's leaders. And he's being recognized for his exceptional promise and continued excellence in structural steel research, teaching, and service to the industry. Machel, thanks for everything you do for the industry, and congratulations, and thanks for being here.
Thank you very much.
So let's start from the beginning. Can you tell me a little bit about where you're from, where you grew up?
Well, originally I'm from Kingston, Jamaica.
Okay.
I grew up there until I was 18, and I didn't come to the U.S. until I entered college. I went up to university up in Pennsylvania, Lafayette College.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So Lafayette College brought you to the U.S.
Yes.
So what made you interested in engineering in the first place?
I think I had a love for physics and math in high school.
Okay.
And from all of my mentors, they told me, well, engineering is a good path if you enjoy that kind of stuff. Physics, math, and chemistry, those are the subjects I really enjoyed in high school. So.
Okay.
At the time in Jamaica, there was a lot of infrastructure work going on.
Sure.
And so I was exposed to that through actually some job shadowing in high school.
Okay.
And so I got kind of naturally developed an affinity for civil infrastructure.
Okay.
And so that kind of guided me along that engineering path.
Gotcha. And so we could talk about your academic career, but were you in the design world at all before that, or did you go straight into
So that's an interesting story. So
okay.
So I finished my undergrad in 2004, and then I started a master's in engineering management program at Duke University in North Carolina.
Okay.
Just after that. That's about a year and a half program. And right out of that, I got a job in construction management. Okay. Working for Skanska USA.
Okay.
And that really exposed me to the kind of hands-on construction management process. I got to work with designers, but didn't do any design work myself, but became incredibly interested in the process that goes on, the design process. And analyzing a building. What if the contractor makes a mistake in one particular area of it or another? How do you repair that? How do you make decisions in that regard? And so because of that intense curiosity and sort of less affinity for the administrative side of things in project management, I decided to go back to school and pursue graduate study in civil engineering, in structural engineering.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Yeah, and it's I've talked to a lot of professors who have some have gone straight into academia, some haven't, and I think it's obviously beneficial. Like you've had that, you got a little taste of the actual construction process in the real world, which is pretty helpful, I would imagine. So where did you go from there? Where was the first teaching job?
So I did my PhD at North Carolina State University.
Okay.
And graduated in 2015, and then immediately took a postdoc at North Carolina State as well.
Okay.
And then they appointed me after a couple of years to a research assistant professor role. Okay. Which basically means that I'm able to now write my own proposals and do independent research from my boss. Okay. And then I spent about a year in that role, and then I got the position at UC San Diego in 2019.
Okay, so you've been out there since just for a few years. Oh, that's excellent. So, we coordinated as far as getting people to go visit the shake table out there. Let's talk about the shake table a little bit, if you don't mind, because to me, I'd always heard about these, and it was really fascinating to see one in person. So, can you just talk a little bit about your involvement with that?
Yes. So I got involved. The shake table was built originally in 2004.
Okay. Yeah.
And at that stage, it was conceived as a single degree of freedom shaker. So in other words, just movement in one direction, right? Able to simulate earthquakes in one direction. It was originally designed, however, to be eventually upgraded to a 6 degree of freedom. So translation in all 3 directions and rotations about 3 directions. And recently, I think it was just before I joined UCSD, NSF decided to award us a grant to upgrade the system to 6 degree of freedom, and that's where I got involved. So I was part of the team that upgraded the system from single degree of freedom to 6 degree of freedom. And so I helped with some of the design of some of the components that went into that process, and I also helped with some of the management aspects of it as well.
That's really cool. Yeah, you call it 6 degree, right? It moves in 3 directions, and you said it can rotate in 3. Yeah, it's like a shake table upgrade. It's like next shake table version whatever to
exactly
2.0.
Version 2, generation, second generation.
That is really, really cool. Yeah, it was neat to be up there. I mean, obviously we weren't on it when it was actually shaking, but I always wondered, do you ever put crash test dummies up there?
No.
That's probably a bad idea. I mean, anyway. So what other I want to talk a little bit about just teaching and then research, but let's go back a little bit further. So your first time as a professor in front of a class, do you remember what that was like?
Yes. I remember the feeling of being not that much older than the students.
Yeah.
And the students looking at me. I think the first time I entered the room, I don't think the students knew that I was a professor. I think they thought I was another student. When they saw me go to the front of the classroom, I could see the expression on their faces change, like, oh, this is the the professor. And so very nervous at first, but I think after a couple of classes, my nerves settled down and I was able to get into the swing of things. That's good. Yeah. No, I can imagine. It's like, when
I've talked to a few different academics about like the various stages in their career, and it's like, when you start so young, I'm sure a lot of people make that mistake. But so another professor put it, you can also relate to them because you're still in that's sort of in their generation. So you get their references and such. But
exactly.
No, that's really cool. What do you teach? Like, so what is your course load right now?
So right now I teach both structural steel design at the undergraduate level and at the graduate level. I also teach one of the early courses in our curriculum, statics, which everybody takes when they come in. And I really enjoy teaching that because I get to interface with the students fresh in our program and build relationships with them as they go on. So I pretty much teach them their first real technical class, which is statics. And then at the very end, I teach structural steel design. Okay. And so I get to see that evolution. And so I enjoy that very much.
Cool. You get to see kind of both, like the young students, the older students. That's good. I'm not an engineer myself, but is there a typical weed out class, so to speak? Is that statics?
That would be statics.
Is that the one like it makes you're like, I don't want to do this anymore, or I want to learn more?
Exactly. It makes or breaks you, I think. Yeah.
Right. What about on the research side? I mean, we talked a little bit about the shake table. Are you involved with any other research there?
On the shake table, no. I think my role.
Or just in the school. I'm sorry, UCSD in general.
No, that's fine. Yeah. In terms of my research, I focus a lot on the material and microstructure dependent properties of steels. And in terms of application, a lot of the things I've been looking at recently have been related to welding.
Cool.
In improving our understanding of what happens in the heat affected zone of a weld, how the mechanical properties of the material changes, and can we do a better job at predicting fracture of welds. I think right now it's kind of anybody's guess as to whether the weld would hold or not.
Right.
I think we can do a lot to improve our ability to predict fracture of welds. So that's my main research thrust right now. Okay,
very good to hear. Moving away from just your professional life, so you've been in San Diego for a few years. Is there anything that people should know about San Diego?
It's great town. It's weather, of course. I'm sure everyone probably knows this is amazing. It's very close to the border, so if you're interested to go check out Tijuana or other places in Mexico, that's convenient. I do that from time to time. Do quite a bit of shopping there, and other than that, I think for me, San Diego and working at UCSD was a dream come true. Really, I don't think there are many other places that I would want to live and work.
Sure,
as a combination. And so, other than the cost of living in California, I think that's probably the only doozy. But everything else is great.
Yeah, you're very right about the cost of living there. What about? Okay, I have to ask. I mean, after a few years there, fish tacos. Are you a fan?
Yes, fish tacos, but. There's a sharp discontinuity in the quality of tacos once you get across the border.
Okay.
That's what I would say. If you go to Tijuana, the tacos there are much better than they are.
I believe it. Yeah. Do you go back to Jamaica much?
Yes, I do. Actually,
Okay.
very often, at least twice a year.
Okay.
I still have family there who are getting a bit older now, so
Right.
I try to get there, get down to see them as much as I can.
I've never been. In fact, I just only recently went to the Caribbean for the first time ever. I went to Puerto Rico, but the one thing I think, I mean, I like coffee, and we always hear about Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee.
Yeah,
Do you are you a coffee drinker?
Yes, I am a coffee drinker.
Are you a coffee snob?
I wouldn't call myself a coffee snob, but I am a coffee drinker. Blue Mountain is always on my gift list.
Yeah,
when
I
go
was
home,
wondering.
I always bring back for friends and colleagues. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Coffee.
cool. I was going to say, it's one of those things, like they say that the Guinness tastes better if you get it in Ireland, and I always wondered, does the Blue Mountain coffee taste better when you're in Jamaica?
It does, actually. If you go to the Blue Mountain, one of the large coffee producers, they actually have like a Starbucks type of equivalent
Okay.
coffee chain in Jamaica. I think they call it Jabloom.
Okay.
And if you go there and get the Blue Mountain coffee from them,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Yeah, you're like, I never want to drink any other coffee again.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. That's I don't know much about coffee, but I know it's like there's the best beans come from like the obviously, like anything, the proper growing like scenario, and I know that's one of them. And when I was in Kona in Hawaii, that's always kind of sought after, and I remember having coffee at a breakfast place there, and it was like, this is really good. And I said, where do you get the beans? And this woman just pointed at some bushes. She's like, right there. Oh my gosh, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Machel, for meeting with me today. It's been great talking, and again, congratulations on the award, and thank you so much for your service to our industry.
Thank you for having me.